Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome back to the Infatuasian podcast. This is a show where we try to elevate and celebrate Asian culture and creators. And we have a familiar co-host today. It is Kimberly Szeto.
Hello.
Hey Kim. So you're the one who actually is friends with Rich, and so you kind of brought him on. So thanks for the connect, man.
Yes, of course. I think it's a really full one. It's going to be a good episode.
Yeah, well, we actually already recorded it, so spoiler alert, it is a good episode. No, we had really fun. We talked to Rich like over an hour. So many stories, and you brought up a Korean drama story that I didn't know. Like I usually stalk my guests pretty good and find out a little bit about their background, but you brought up this whole
Other
Korean
world.
connection. Yeah, so it was cool. So we went into the Korean world in the early 2000s or like 2008s, 9s. That was very cool. So audience, look forward to hearing that.
And I need to like rewatch some of this stuff to find Rich because
With the long
I saw it
hair.
back then and I actually just watched like a little clip of it, like a trailer, and I'm like, I found Rich.
Yeah.
That's
He's
crazy.
That's cool. So I might do that too. He's got the cheekbones though. He's got the smile, the killer smile, and the killer hair. Usually you can recognize him pretty easily.
Yeah, I'm trying to go back and make your move. I like absolutely adore that move because I love Boa. I also
Yeah.
adore Derek Huff.
Yeah. Yeah. So, audience
So
out there, you don't know, we're talking to Rich Ting today. So, actor, he's been in a ton of stuff that you've probably seen. Most recently, well, most notably, he was Bolo on Warrior, but most recently, he's in an Amazon Prime show called On Call. We'll talk about it in a second. But yeah, he's such a great actor. He's a really familiar face. I think once you see it, you'll say, oh, I know that guy. But better than that, super nice guy, respectful of his culture. He knows that what he's doing is not super common. There's not a lot of Asian male leads out there. And so it's pretty great to see him getting some bigger roles and really doing well in Hollywood. So shout out to Rich Ting. We're going to have a good hour with him.
yes, can't wait.
All right. And as usual, thanks for listening.
Thank you.
And today's guest is where are you coming from? LA?
Los Angeles, LA.
Coming from LA down south. He's switched. You're still a Giants fan though, right? Giants, 49ers, Warriors.
Oh yeah, I'm Bay till I die,
Okay.
unless the Rams are listening right now, or unless you invite me to a game, and then I got to be a part of that home
You
team.
got to be loyal, yeah. All right, but we are talking to Rich Ting down from Los Angeles today. If you don't know, Rich has acted in or provided his voice for over 60 productions now. And you've probably seen him in something. You've seen him in Lone Survivor, Assault, or maybe a TV show like Supergirl, NCIS LA, Chicago PD, and then some bigger roles in Man in the High Castle, or Warrior, Partner Track, or Tulsa Kings. He's been in a ton of stuff, so I'm sure you've seen him somewhere. And just now, in January of 2025, he's in Amazon Prime's On Call, produced by Dick Wolf, legendary producer Dick Wolf, starring as Sergeant Tyson Koyama. So, welcome to the show, Rich Ting.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Thank you. We know, well, so we're recording on like January 15th, and so the world has been watching LA going through
Right,
something. And so
right.
we appreciate how are things going? You said today's kind of normal?
Yeah, actually, not to be too optimistic because we never know with the weather, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Today, clear skies. I'm in downtown Los Angeles, so we've been kind of out of the line of fire, so to speak.
Yeah.
But the smoke and the air has, I mean, I remember waking up the second day
Yeah.
and it was like, I woke up because it was like this yellow fog light that was like, it was a weird deal.
Yeah.
It was like, you didn't know if it was really early in the morning or really late at night because it was like
Uh,
so congested. So fortunately, the air is clear, but then everybody's warning that it's still a lot of stuff in the air and sort of mask up and be protected.
mm,
But yeah, it's been really unfortunate the last week.
Yeah.
just due to all the devastation and all the tragedies. So, hearts go out to all the victims and to all the people in the Palisades, Eaton County, and
Right.
everywhere else that's been affected.
Yeah, it's really scary. Really, some of the videos and shots coming out are really scary. But yeah,
Yeah.
we really appreciate you coming on with us. We like to greet our guests in the Asian way. So, Rich, have you eaten yet?
Yes, I have.
Okay, good. We're
That
kind of
sounds so weird in English though, but yeah,
okay.
I get it. I get it. I know pretty much all. Yeah, that's funny. I
Do you
appreciate
speak?
that.
You speak Chinese or Japanese?
Yes, when I have to.
Okay,
But ironically, my Korean is the most on point right now. So
really?
my wife's Korean. I've worked in Korea, done some film and TV out there as well, and learned it out there. So I like to say I learned it from the motherland. So hopefully, I think that's why I've been able to pass, and get work out there because I learned it there. So I didn't have, a lot of Korean Americans, they hear it through their parents at home in the
Uh-huh.
US and they develop, a little bit of an accent, so to speak.
Yeah.
I've been told my accent is good and people are shocked. But then when they hear that I learned it, literally in Korea, in Seoul and Gangnam, that they understand why. So, but,
Nice.
uh, but
Oh,
yeah, that is an Asian thing because even like I spent some time in Vietnam a long time ago, and they have the same saying, all right,
yeah.
when they see somebody, have you eaten yet? So
Yeah. I've actually heard it comes from the days when people were not eating, like near
right,
starvation, and it comes kind of out of that concern for your neighbor.
totally,
Yeah, but yeah, luckily we've eaten, we've had lunch.
yeah,
We're a little before dinner, but we'll make it through. We'll make it through. Hey, can we talk about your roots a little bit?
sure.
So we're located in San Francisco. Where were you born and raised?
So I was originally born and raised in the South Bay of LA, Southern California.
Oh, that's South Bay.
Yeah, that's South Bay, and was able to move up to the Bay Area with my family uh, right before junior high school.
Okay.
And so spent, basically junior high through high school in San Francisco. And that became my home, and
Yeah.
I think those years were such formidable years in my childhood that I always remember LA. When I come back to LA, it always feels like home. But I just was such a Bay Area kid,
Uh-huh.
especially when I went to college. I definitely was Bay, you know,
Yeah.
and so definitely have a lot of great memories, and I claim it. It's high school was probably the best time of my life to this day,
Huh.
and have a ton of great memories. And in the San Francisco, the whole Bay Area, from San Jose to San Francisco, Oakland, East Bay, whatever it may be, I just it's all been positive. So always happy to speak to Bay Area people, to come back to do things in San Francisco. So that's why this is awesome.
Yeah. And reared in high school, go Crusaders.
100% Crusader Nation. So we got girls now.
Yeah,
So
what the heck?
I know it's a trip. I had the opportunity to speak to the students there. I think about a year and a half ago, maybe
Hmm.
almost 2 years ago now. We're already in January, and that was weird. You know,
Seeing girls out there.
I mean, usually it's all the Mercy girls back in the day,
Right?
or SI or Cathedral. That used to come over and cross that barrier to like hang out with Reardon dudes. But now they're in the auditoriums. That's why my message to the students, especially the guys, I was like, you guys have no excuse anymore. You know what I mean? Like, you guys got girls, man. Like, it's a whole different world.
Well, that might have been a distraction. Would that have been a distraction for a 15-year-old Rich Ting?
No, you know what? So I had the privilege of going to two high schools. I went to another co-ed private high school in the
Okay.
peninsula before I transferred to the city.
Okay.
And so I experienced I've been in co-ed situations ever since I was a kid. So
Uh-huh.
Reardon actually was the first only single sex school like I've ever been kind of involved with. And
Yeah.
to me, I think it's the opposite. I think it kind of echoes, when someone says, you can't have it, you want it more, right?
Oh, okay.
And so like Man, I mean, I used to joke to all, especially my teammates at Rear, and I was like, man, I've never been around more desperate dudes that talk about females more in my life. Like, it was kind of ridiculous when I entered because, when you're used to it, it's not a big deal anymore,
Yeah,
right?
that's true.
And so I was like, this totally contradicts that whole single sex education where like you can be focused and like there's less
Oh,
distraction.
man.
I'm like, dude, there's way more distraction. It's like you see a girl walk by outside, everyone's like, whoa, you know what I mean? It's like, it was an adjustment to that mentality. So I'm definitely for co-ed education. I think that's way more less distracting.
Oh man. Oh man. But it was football that really kind of shaped the first part of your, well, high school and college for sure. Yeah.
Right. That was my first true love, I would say. A four-sport athlete throughout my entire high school career. Ever since I started Pop Warner football at the age of 8 years old. Before that, I was playing soccer. I started martial arts at the age of 4, and so it was kind of one of those things where my parents kept me so athletically busy. I never had time to think, to be honest, which I think kept me out of trouble.
Okay.
But it was more of a seasonal thing. It's like, fall is football. We get into basketball winter. All of a sudden spring hits. We're doing track and baseball, and summer hits again. And now we're prepping for football again, And so the years really were consistent with that schedule. My life was literally of an athlete all the way through college. And so, that's pretty much all I knew. I knew physical training, recovery, watching film, prepping, do it again, the first half of my life. So, very thankful though, because, transferring all that education and all, being what I like to say is coachable, through all those years has really allowed me to adjust and be very open and transparent to directors, to writers, to my coworkers, to other actors. I feel, not to get into it too much right now, but I just feel like, a lot of people in entertainment are at a disadvantage because they don't come from that athletic background. I'm very much a team guy. I thrive off of a team environment. I don't really like being an individual. And I think that's been a huge asset to my career as an actor since, I love it when I get on set with a big crew. I feel like it's a team,
Yeah.
So
I can imagine that. And it opened a door to get you into the Ivy Leagues too. You got to play for Yale.
Right.
Actually, one of the best drama schools in the country. Did you even know that when you went there, or?
I knew it, and again, speaking of athletics, for those of people that are listening that were able to play, collegiate football, let alone at the Division I level, it's a full-time job, and so. Between splitting my time as a pre-med student and a history major, because I really like the arts in that capacity, and then basically being a full-time athlete year-round, I literally never had an opportunity to really dive into the arts at Yale in the theatrical department. I was able to audit some classes here and there just to kind of get a taste, because I always had that bug in me. I just literally never had the time. And experienced it vicariously through a lot of my classmates who were in these productions, who were at the School of Drama, who were musicians, singers, actors, and just, was kind of envious of them because I always wanted to take advantage of that environment there. But, it all worked out. So I have no complaints.
Yeah, yeah. Kim, wouldn't you hate to have a cousin like Rich where it's like, starting quarterback, scholarship to Yale? It'd drive you crazy at Thanksgiving. You're comparing against Rich.
What's funny about that? I had other cousins that were supposed to be destined for Ivy Leagues that never went. So I was actually in the other position my whole life, where it was like having older cousins. It was like, hey, guess where so-and-so's applying? Guess where so-and-so got on her SAT? And
yeah.
At that point, I was like, I don't really care. You know what I mean? Like, I'm focusing on the game or football. So, no, it would suck to have a cousin like me, I think, in that way. Just unintentionally, you know what I mean? It's not my fault. It's it's just the way things worked out and the way my parents kind of directed me. So,
yeah, that's cool though. You know what? Sometimes hard work and good things just happen to good people. You just put in the work. Sometimes
I appreciate you saying that.
You get a little luck, but it just I don't know. I feel like the universe evens things out. You're doing fine.
Totally.
You're doing
totally.
Fine.
And it's always the grass is always greener.
Yeah, sure.
You know what I mean? So, and I'm speaking from experience. I've been blessed for a lot of random cool opportunities, but it doesn't come without a price, you know?
Yeah, yeah,
And it may look all, nice and easy on the outside, but
right.
it's usually a different story, on the inside.
That's what they say. You want to be Steph Curry. You want to do all the work that he did to get where he is.
Right. Right.
You don't even
Right.
know. Yeah,
I think, they always say when you make it look easy, it's because you're that great at it or you've put in that much work to
that
get
much
there, right? So
preparation. Yeah,
respect to all those guys.
yeah.
We already kind of touched upon it, but because since you've always kind of had the acting bug, right? But when did it actually click with you that this might actually be something to run with as a career?
Yeah, I think in 2007, actually, because I mean, it was such a milestone in my life that when I actually came back to Los Angeles, the downtown, to take a law firm job, because I went to law school and MBA school after graduating from Yale, and that kind of was an excuse to buy me some more time. And I was able to land a really good job in downtown LA at a really good firm. But my cousin, on my mom's side, so my mom's side is all they're all in the stunt world in Hollywood,
Huh.
and they've been doing it for generations. And my cousin knew that I was back in town. He knew I had been venturing into some commercial and some theatrical work just for fun. But he also knew my size, my height, my look, my skill level. And so he actually is the one who got me an opportunity to get involved with his stunt team in Hollywood. And I came to a very distinct crossroads in 2007, the summer of 2007, where I was offered a job on a Warner Brothers gig. And I had to make that decision right there, whether I was going to accept that and tell my partners at the law firm that, I was going to try to experience another path. And I ended up doing that. And it was a very tough meeting because I'd built these bridges for so long in law school. But fortunately for me, the partners at the firm were very supportive. They encouraged me. And I think once I felt their encouragement and the fact that they welcomed me back if things didn't work out, I really had no fear at that point. And entering the stunt world, I think, is the most humbling and honest way to enter this entertainment world. The stunt department never gets the credit they deserve.
Sure. Yeah.
They are why movies are great. They are why television shows are great. They're responsible for the action, but more importantly, the safety of the actors, the crew, the entire set. They're the first guys and first women to arrive. They're the last ones to leave. They get zero recognition. The mentality in the stunt world is if you want to continue to work on a show or production, you can't show your face. Because the minute you show your face, you're exposed and
You're known. Yeah.
you're known. So you can't come back as another character, right? So literally they hide, right? And so, it was a great opportunity for me to learn so much on set. I always say this, there's no class, there's no acting studio that teaches you how it really is. And it's kind of like the chicken or the egg. So how are you supposed to learn? Well, you're supposed to get on a real life set. Well, how do you do that if you don't have, the auditions or the opportunity, So I took that as a great gift to enter the world of the entertainment, and just really became a student and a sponge for about 2 years. And I was able to cross over to the acting side after that. And, as time goes, I'm just more and more grateful for that introduction, through the stunt department.
Yeah, that's cool. I didn't know that. But yeah, so you get into some roles, you get into some TV shows. I don't know if I know I've watched these shows, so I must have seen you. NCIS or Supergirl or Chicago PD. Any of those jump out at you as one of those one of those shows that you could tell us like how it changed you, or a story about the set, or any early experiences?
Yeah, those are all like, those. So there's different levels, right? As far as kind of how you're classified. You have your series regulars who are the leads of the show, and then you have your recurrings who are also leads of the show. And then you have your guest stars, and then your co-stars, and then your extras, right? So I had the opportunity to be cast as top of the show guest stars on all those shows, which was a tremendous compliment and opportunity I was given. I think out of those projects you mentioned, based on the current situation I'm in with On Call, when I booked Chicago PD, that was pretty cool for me because I've always been a Dick Wolf fan.
Yeah.
And, he's had so much success
Uh-huh.
in the network television world that my goal was to get on one of his shows. And
Yeah.
so when I was able to book Chicago PD, I think in their second season, that was kind of a reality check for me. Obviously I was just on it for an episode, but I got to meet the leads. I got to see how they work. I got to see what it's like at that level. And it really motivated me because I felt that I could do that, if
Hmm.
given the opportunity. And, always wanted to play a police officer. So even though I wasn't on that episode, I was playing a bad guy. Um, it just brought me that much closer to like the reality and speaking to like a lot of the leads of that show and having those conversations. And ironically, so many years later, the main writer of that show would become my showrunner of my
Oh,
current show.
wow.
And
Wow.
the head costume department, uh, lady, Erica, she dressed me for that episode. She is now our head
Uh,
costume person on our current show. And those things happen a lot in Hollywood if you're
yeah.
able to stay in the game.
Yeah.
Um, just so proud to be where I'm at now, knowing how I felt then. I got
Hmm.
a taste of it and it really motivated me to pursue it harder.
Yeah.
Just really fortunate to be officially a part of the Dick Wolf world right now.
Nice. Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. And then you did some movies too. I heard a story about Lone Survivor. That was kind of a good experience for working on that show.
Oh
That
my
movie.
gosh, that was so I think that was the second kind of A-list film I was able to book early in my career. I did Salt. I had a cool scene with Angelina
Yeah.
Jolie early, which was awesome. And then Lone Survivor came next. And that was a tremendous opportunity because of the reason why we were doing it. We were honoring, those Navy SEALs that unfortunately lost their lives
Hmm.
in that one situation back in the day. And to play the character of James Suh, who unfortunately passed as well, during that excursion.
That's right. Yeah.
It was an honor to not only honor our military, but to honor those fallen SEALs that gave their lives for our country. Being on set with Peter Berg as our director, Mark Wahlberg,
Yeah.
Taylor
Yeah.
Kitsch,
Yeah.
Eric Bana,
Hmm.
Ben Foster, Emil Hirsch. Like,
Yeah.
I just remember sitting in those chairs
Yeah.
on set and literally being the only no name,
Uh-huh.
amongst a bunch of A-listers at the
Hmm.
time.
Yeah.
And that was a bit surreal. Again, it proved to me that I can do this. I
Hmm.
can I can play ball with these guys, and but again, that one was extra special just because of who we were honoring,
Yeah.
and that has always had a lasting impact on me. And unfortunately, I got cut out of a lot of the edits,
Yeah.
but the few months that I was there with, to me, the more important thing was, again, the purpose, the fact
Hmm.
that I was able to learn that I was on set for a few months with all these guys. And, I was just another student again, really taking in my environment.
Yeah.
And so that definitely had a lasting impact on me.
Yeah. Nah, I love your take on that, man, because a lot of times people look at the arts and they're like, oh, it's just art or it's just entertainment. But, a lot of times arts honors people by telling
Right.
stories. A lot of like Warrior, we're going to talk about in a second. I mean, for Chinese Americans, that have been here 4 or 5 generations, it means more than just a story. It's not just entertainment.
Right.
You're able to fill in some pieces of history or of lives that we wouldn't know James Suh. Like I wouldn't know James Suh
Right.
or any of those guys. But the movie did that, and I think that's
Right.
cool.
And I think, like we were talking about earlier in the beginning, it's like, I'm a history major, I'm a history buff,
Uh
right?
huh.
And so somehow, some way, the universe has allowed me these opportunities to book roles and characters based on non-fictional experiences and to
Mm-hmm.
commemorate certain people. Like another project that comes to mind is Waco. I was able to play FBI agent Lon Horiuchi, who was a sniper, and he was very critical for I think it's the Ruby Ridge incident
Mm-hmm.
that later unfortunately motivated the whole David Koresh Waco
Mm-hmm.
situation. And they brought him back to handle that situation as well, to help out and assist. And I was
Mm-hmm.
cast for that guy. And so, both of those, being Asian American men that either served in our military or, our police force on the federal level, again, just being able to honor them to the world, right? That we are more than what Hollywood has put us out there to be. That we are Navy SEALs, that we are federal police officers at the highest level, to my current project, on call, to where I get to represent for the first time, like a real Asian American police officer that,
Yeah.
come on, we're from San Francisco, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
you gotta tell me you never seen an Asian cop,
We
in
see
the
them all
city?
the
It's
time.
like,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, we've never seen that on television, especially in the way that we're portraying our characters on call, which is very gritty, visceral, and real.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, like, with all that, I've been grateful for these, because a lot of actors that I know, they play, they're character actors, right? So they play these cool, like, superhero, heroes or villains or whatnot. But for me, I've had a few opportunities to play real people.
Yeah.
I never sought out to do that, to be honest. And it just adds a whole nother layer of pressure, a whole nother layer of gratitude, to just represent these guys,
Yeah. Love it. Kim, you want to start our warrior conversation?
Yeah, but I want to actually sidetrack this a little bit
Sure.
because I was interested in some of your earlier work as well. I wanted to just hear more about your experience with Iris. That was
Oh,
definitely
right.
something
Right.
I've seen as a kid.
Right.
That was even before I moved
Man,
out
you
here
got
to
me. You guys say it like
California.
that. I'm not that old.
Yeah.
Man,
She was a small child.
like that was just a couple years ago. Like,
Yeah.
okay.
But that was definitely, I feel like Iris was such a core memory for me for some
Right.
reason, when I was younger.
No, Iris was dope. Similar, with me, I think I got the Korean entertainment bug in college, so I was very tapped into K-pop and K-dramas and film. Not to date me, but like in the late '90s, right, early 2000s,
Yeah.
and
HOT.
yeah, HOTSES, Yushin One Time, like I can go on, like.
Sokeji.
Yep, like I was in it, Turbo, the whole thing, like
Yeah.
Venusian, like let's go. And so I think when Iris came out for me, the first one, of course it was, a great cast, and I just thought it was so, to be honest, the fact that you bring that up right now, that was almost like a pre-streaming drama
Yeah.
time, right? Because I
It's
remember,
the ones where you would go to like the DVD shops
DVD,
and,
yeah.
and you like put it into
right.
yeah, it was
Yeah.
one
I
of
mean,
those.
that's basically what streaming is now. They're mini movies, right? Like
Right.
episodics are like basically short
And I
films.
would get it in a DVD.
Yeah, no, totally. Yeah, same here. And that's funny. I just made that connection because I remember thinking like every episode is so intense, and I could tell, with the stunts and with the explosions, and the storyline. I was like, damn, these are like mini movies, I used to say. So that's very funny. It's a full circle now. But yeah, so I went to Korea. I had it was kind of on my bucket list, if I were ever to pursue, because I remember I would get teased a lot at Yale by the Korean community, my fellow Korean peers, because they all thought I was Korean. And they were like, dude, you should, they would just say stuff like, oh, you should go to Korea. Like, you have the look, whatever that means. And I'm like, yeah, I'm here. I'm full-time football player. Like, I'm full meathead, full jock mode. Don't really know what I'm going to do with my life, but that kind of planted a seed. So when I actually got into the business in '07, there was an opportunity that came up randomly that I was able to work with K-pop singer Boa.
Oh, okay.
On a Hollywood film called Make Your Move. And it was with Derek Huff and the same.
Yeah, I love that movie.
Yeah, I have long hair in that movie, so you probably don't even recognize me. So
I should go back and see.
yeah, you would trip out because that is me.
Remember when that movie came out?
Yeah, so we filmed that in Toronto in 2010, and I was a huge fan of Boa. So for me,
Sure.
that
Yeah.
was a really cool opportunity because it was Boa and two of us. It was like a Romeo and Juliet story. And the two Asian guys actually, my older brother, my Hyung, whatever, is actually an actor by the name of William Lee. And I was a huge fan of Will back in the day. So it was kind of cool for me because it was my first Hollywood film as a lead. I was with Boa, who I was a fan of, and then I was with this
Uh-huh.
guy, Will, who I grew up watching, and I was like, oh, this is
Wow.
crazy.
Yeah.
It was through that production I was able to meet her team at SM Town, and it was this co-production with CJ. So I
Wow.
believe it's is it Mickey Lee from CJ. It was a co-production, so we got to meet all the big dogs. Basically, is what I'm trying
Wow.
to say, and got really really close to Boy and became like an oppa to her, back in the day. And she actually proposed one day. She was like, "Hey, you should come to Korea and visit." And I'm like, man, I'm trying to do work out there, And so
Uh-huh.
she
Uh-huh.
was like, oh my God, really? And so it was actually through her 100%
Oh,
connection with SM Town. Cause by that time I'd be created a lot of friends within the company. And they're like, yeah, you should come over. And I really, one thing about Korean culture, there's the trust is a big thing. And
Yeah.
I really trusted these people that I met in 2010 and still to this day. And ironically, they're all very close to me to this day, and I'm so grateful for these
oh.
relationships. But she was the main reason I got to Korea. I
Uh-huh.
took meetings. Long story short, I started learning Korean somehow, some way, because the casting system in Korea is not like it is in Hollywood. It's more about who you know.
Mhm.
There's no official like casting thing that goes out
Yeah.
to agents and whatnot. It's
Oh,
very
interesting.
much networking. It's very internal, especially back then, right? And long story short, I got an opportunity to audition for Iris 2.
Uh-huh.
And that's when everything kind of started happening for me in Korea. I booked this role. I don't know how I booked it because I couldn't speak Korean that well at the time. And they threw me into the fire, and there was a huge language barrier because the directors in Korea
Hmm.
frowned upon translators on set.
Sure. Yeah.
And I just had to go into survival mode
Mm.
and do what I thought he wanted me to do. And it ended up working out. And everyone's like, oh man, he understands so well. And
You're just guessing.
I was like, dude, I'm reading the script. I'm getting it translated by my team. I'm putting two and two together. I think he means this. And I just, if you're going to screw up, I'm going to screw up 150%, right? I'm not going to go 80, right? I'm going to go
Yeah.
150. It would just be funny. He would just give me a nod, like, moving on. And I'm like, oh my God,
Yeah.
like,
Just.
that was great. I nailed it. I don't know how. So that's how Iris ended up working out for me. I ended up doing, I think, 8 or 10 episodes of that season.
Huh.
From there, I kind of got my foot in the ground in Korea, and word kind of spread because I wasn't Korean by blood, but I
Uh-huh.
passed physically as a Korean. And then by the next project in Korea, my Korean had gotten good. So I could communicate with everyone
Mm.
and take notes and make adjustments. And that was like my initiation to the Korean entertainment world was through Iris. So it
Oh
was very
man.
cool because again, I was a fan of it. And next thing I know, I'm literally in a
Did
foreign
it.
country doing the sequel with the same crew. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? But I'm
Yeah.
like, I don't understand what's going on, literally.
Yeah.
But I made it work. And sometimes you just gotta fake it till you make it,
Yeah.
right?
Gee.
I'm full transparency here. I can't
Oh
even.
man.
Yeah, I was. That was a tough one though, for sure.
Oh man. How long were you there? Were you there a couple years?
Yeah, I was there like 4 year, almost five
Oh
years.
wow. Okay.
So from basically like 2012 to like early 2016. And basically what would
Oh.
happen is I actually booked Lone Survivor when I was there.
Uh-huh.
So I would go, I was working on Iris. I think, no, actually, I think I did Lone Survivor right before Iris. Went back, did Iris, came back to do something else, got booked for something else. So I was like ping ponging back and forth between LA and Seoul for like 4.5 years almost.
Wow. Man.
And it was
Yeah.
cool. Like I love Korea. I love the culture. I love the people. I met my wife there. You know what I
Uh-huh.
mean? So I'm very much an honorary Korean, and
Yeah.
I got nothing but love for obviously Boa, all my SM family who are now all spread out doing crazy
Yeah.
things. I I
We're
got
celebrating the 30 years this
right,
year.
right, exactly. Dude, I got, a lot of the artists are my really close friends. Even a lot of the creative directors are like my really good friends, and they've opened up their own companies. And I
Man.
got one older brother who's, he's a sound engineer. He's mixing for, Blackpink now. You know what I mean? Like they're
Wow.
just killing the game. So,
Man.
and it's been a minute. Like,
Uh-huh.
I went back to Korea last year and had a reunion during our SAG strike. And I
Huh.
still have my team. We're still trying to do stuff there.
Huh.
Yeah, I got nothing but love
That would be
for
cool.
Korea.
Yo, Rich, you got if Bo wants to come on the Infatuasian podcast,
I would
Right.
love
yeah,
Boa.
just
Boa was my
next time you
childhood.
see her, yeah.
Yeah, she was everyone's childhood. Like, man, like, she's cool. Like for the record, she's cool. She's one of the most grounded, down to earth artists you'll meet. I think it's because she's
Uh,
been doing it for so long, has had so
yeah,
much success. She's different, and
yeah,
again, she was like the first Korean artist I met, and so I got really lucky because not all of them are like that. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah.
So
Now we'll stay up late. We'll stay up late to talk to Boa. So next
all
time she's
right, all
on the
right.
line, yeah, just slip her a card or say,
I
hey,
will. I will.
talk to this
That's
dude.
cool.
All right, man. I think we got to get back to America for a second here.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Would you say Warrior was kind of your first American, main lead role, kind of,
Yeah, I think
or series
with
regular?
Warrior, that show definitely put me on the map, like globally.
Yeah, I think so.
And I mean, to this day, people, I'll run into people outside, and that's the first thing they bring up, right? So it's
Bolo.
cool. Yeah,
That
it's
was
cool.
my
Or
first
they look
thought
at
when I
me,
ran past you at the
yeah,
parade. Hello.
Is that Bolo?
which is
And I
cool
kept running.
because I don't look like Bolo in real life, like day on my day to day, right?
Right.
And so when
Yeah.
people do like call me out, I'm so impressed because I'm just like, like how do you know, and yeah, there's been some random places. Like for some reason, every time it's so crazy you just bring this up. Every time I go to New York Chinatown, literally, I'm like in New York Chinatown, as
Yeah.
big and as many Chinese people are in New York Chinatown
Right.
at any given point. So many people recognize me,
Yeah.
and it's mind blowing because I'm like, I think I just kind of like fade in a little bit,
Yeah.
and it's but what that show, I mean, let me take it back to be able to be a part of a Bruce Lee written, inspired
Right.
production, that was
Shannon Lee.
written,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, decades before I was even born, right? And that was in the mix with Shannon and Justin Lin
Right.
and HBO, and they had that whole thing in pre-production before I ever even knew it existed.
Yeah.
And in Hollywood, timing's a big thing.
Yeah.
And so the fact that worked out, I really believe it was meant to be.
Mm-hmm.
And so proud to, they always say like, oh, how does it feel to prolong Bruce Lee's legacy? I'm like, man, you don't need to prolong his legacy.
He
His
didn't need
legacy
help. Yeah.
stands. He doesn't need any help.
Yeah.
But the fact that he's been an inspiration to me since I was 4, I mean, that's why I started martial arts.
Yeah.
And to know that I went through my whole life, inspired by this man, both, physically in the martial arts world, but also philosophically as well, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I would come to a point to honor him. I don't like to say prolong his legacy. I like to use the word honor again,
Yeah.
to honor him and to help, with my amazing castmates to put his work on a platform that he was, he was denied, due
Yeah.
to straight racism, right?
Yeah. Straight up.
That's a true blessing and something that I don't think will ever top that in that way.
Yeah.
I always say, like, we don't grow up saying, oh, one of these days I'm going to honor my hero who's, I don't know, like
How could
maybe
you,
some people do.
Yeah.
I never thought that, you know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
he's bigger than anything I could ever imagine.
For sure.
And so that was awesome. And that show, I'm just so blessed we were able to get that show on the Cinemax platform first, and then it got carried to HBO, then to Max, and now it's on Netflix for the world to watch anytime. That's been the win. Obviously I don't make it past season 1 character wise.
Yeah. Spoiler
But-
alert.
Yeah, for those of you who haven't watched it yet. But like I've told Shannon this, I've told everyone this. if I could have had one scene on one episode of a Bruce Lee inspired show that the world would watch, that I mean, that would be more than enough for me, let alone to play this iconic character of Bolo and to have the kind of character arc I had and to have the impact I had and, to have the fan base that I've received because of that. I mean, it's Bruce Lee's the gift that keeps on giving.
Yeah.
And that man has opened up so many doors for me and just really, yeah, I don't think I'll ever, to this day, what is it? It's 2025. We started that production in 2017.
Mm-hmm.
How I felt when I booked that role in 2017 is pretty similar to how I feel right now. Like it's still a bit unreal,
It's a win. You get to take that win,
Yeah. No, and again, like you said, the fact that we brought that to, it takes place in San Francisco and this full kind of circle of my personal history.
Yeah.
It was so weird at the time, but yet I was so dialed in, and that's why I'm saying it was meant to be.
Right. Yeah, we interviewed your godfather. We interviewed Perry Young, Father June himself, and he said the same thing. He's an Oakland boy, he's a Bay Area kid, and he's American born, and he said the same thing. Just even though it's fiction, there's so many historical ties, and that show did such a good job trying to show some history that people just don't know,
Right. And again, history buff speaking to you right now, that I mean, I actually. Side note, I did my senior thesis at Yale on the demasculization of Asian American males, in Hollywood, and all the photos and inspirational on our mood boards in the studio. I knew every single one of them, like not even exaggerating, because I had incorporated all those images and all that research into my thesis, so many years ago at Yale. That I remember being we had this one wall that we just had all these inspirational, whether it was costume inspiration or just, situational. And people were looking like, oh, look at this. I was like, no, this, and I would be able to explain to you where this photo came from, what it represents, literally the time frame it was. And it was just so weird to be like, I'm doing this and I've already studied this. And the reason why I'm able to throw a punch or a kick on camera is because I started because of this man, at the age of 4. And I went to high school in San Francisco. I've walked these streets of Chinatown, like, I don't know how many thousands of times. Like, it was just so many overlaps that it was, that's what I'm saying. It's still huge to me to this day as we're talking about it, because it was such a unique experience. And yeah, like even when I see Shannon these days, I'm always like, this is Bruce Lee blood right here. You know what I mean? And she's awesome. We collaborate a lot, and I call her a dear friend of mine now. And she's so supportive of my career. Post Warrior.
Yeah.
It's just there's so many fruits and so many things that this show has given me. So I'm just beyond grateful for that.
Nah, it's really cool. It's just, as a 5th generation San Franciscan and as a fan of Bruce Lee and as a fan of you, like just all the pieces coming together, just seeing an majority Asian cast on Netflix, Asian American cast on Netflix.
Right.
So cool. My only gripe, spoiler alert, is they did you dirty, man. They stabbed you in the back. You literally got stabbed in the back. I mean, if you're going to go, Diana Done's the one to do it, right? That's not too bad, but...
No, and I know Diane, and I don't hold it against her. I mean, she was just doing her job. But my pride and joy is that Assam never beat me.
Yeah, right.
And
you were coming back. You were about to take that dude.
Oh no, it was going to get uglier, and in the best way possible. So. And I hate to say it, with Kimberly on, but, I think a lot of us have been backstabbed by females in our lives.
Right.
I was trying to just represent for all the innocent men out there that have been unfortunately stabbed in the back.
Typical. Typical.
Yeah. So I'll let Diane have that one as long as no one could be like, Assam beat you, right? So that's how I deal with that.
I was waiting for your second win on that. That was but in all seriousness, that was a good fight, man. That was a fun.
Oh yeah, that was a good fight.
You guys
did
well. That was in.
Thank you.
The whole series just was getting better and better as it went on. It almost seemed like you guys were learning, Koji was learning all the stuff that as season 3, the fights, like just got better and better
Oh
every
yeah, yeah.
season.
No,
Yeah.
I'm so happy for the Warrior family. They just every season that we were granted, which there's a whole behind story behind that. We weren't really
Right.
uh there wasn't a lot of support, I'll say, right,
Uh-huh.
from the
Uh-huh.
studios every season. So we basically thought season one's gonna end. That's it. And then all of a sudden season two gets greenlit really quickly with little
Uh-huh.
time. And then we're like, that's it. And then season three gets greenlit again, and they're like, okay, now really that's it. So it was
Yeah.
never like we want to do more. We didn't feel the support from the studios in that way.
Yeah.
And I was kept in the loop because the creators kept trying to bring me back somehow. And
Yeah.
at
Fan
one
favorite.
point, yeah, I mean, it was that was a gift. It was just I thought of it. I actually told one of the creators, I said, if you kill me, you may be killing yourself because I don't know if they're gonna like this. And so he's
Yeah.
like, "We'll figure it out." And I'm like, "Great." So, but I'm just really proud that the franchise got to season 3, that we're on Netflix. That the world has easy access to us. And again, it's about Bruce. So the fact that the world can see what he started back in the 60s, 70s, and we did it in 2017, which is crazy because that's what 8 years ago now.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm just really happy that the world is able to see what we did.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's there. It's there for the world to see now. It's gonna be there. So I'm just glad more eyes are on it with the Netflix
Right.
reach. So
Totally.
yeah, very cool. Very cool. And there's always a glimmer of hope for a season 4.
Yeah, there is. Like
Yeah.
people still bring it up. I always get things come up a lot,
Yeah.
as far as getting into the right people about trying to get it, greenlit for another season, funded, whatever it might be. And, those are conversations that happen, not I'm not in those rooms.
Right. Right.
But I know there's still a demand. And so
Yeah.
I hope so because that show deserves another season. My castmates deserve another season. They deserve
Right.
many more seasons. I'll leave it at that,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
so we'll see. You never
All
know.
right. And
You know?
Bolo's cousin, Yolo, gets
Right,
into the
right.
mix.
YOLO's out there, man. And he's gonna be ready to go
He's
whenever
coming
they
for
want.
you.
Yeah. 100%.
Oh man. All right, well, I think we got to get to the current show, which is fantastic, man. I'm not done with
Thank
it, so no spoilers. I'm only on like episode 4, but I
Okay.
love it. I
Great.
love On
Thank you.
Call, Amazon. Let me get my thingy. So you play Sergeant Tyson Koyama, or Koi,
Right.
which is very
Right.
cool. Starring, how do you say, Troyan?
Yeah. Troy and Belisario and
Troy and
Brandon
Belisario.
Larquin.
Yeah, so they're great. It's super
Yeah.
realistic, man. I'm sitting in my man cave just gripping because it's like the tension on that show. You don't know
That's
what's coming.
awesome.
You don't know what's coming for you. You don't know where it's coming from. But super fun.
Right.
So it's a police, Dick Wolf's specialty, right? Police procedural.
Right.
Takes place in Long Beach, California. It's like literally point of view. Half the show is shot in point of view. Like
Right.
body cam footage, super hyper realistic, and you play a good dude. You play like her former mentor, who's kind of
Mhm.
looking out for her, and you're one of
Right.
the good guys. I hope. I haven't seen the end yet, but you're one
No,
of the.
no, no. I'm a good guy. Like I go, like it was funny because we just finished Tulsa King season 2, where I play a drug lord,
Uh-huh.
right? I
Yeah,
play
yeah, yeah.
crazy Chinese drug lord that
Mr.
comes into
Ming.
Tulsa. Yeah, Jackie Ming world, and come in and I create a hostile environment for Sly and his gang, and then a couple months later, you see me playing the team leader of the drug enforcement team in Long Beach, right?
Right.
So I'm super proud of for both roles, but more importantly, for On Call, I like to be on this side of the interrogation table, right? Not on
Right.
that side, right? And but you're exactly right. Tyson Koyama, he's like I just mentioned, he's a sergeant, he's the team leader of the drug enforcement team in Long Beach, California. He is the former training officer of Troy and Belisario's character, Tracy Harmon.
Mhm.
So as viewers will see, like yourself, when we start the show, season 1, you're thrown into this current world in Long Beach where Tracy Harmon is the training officer for her new trainee, Officer Diaz, who's played by Brandon Larquente. And the dash cam, body cam, steady cam, we incorporate all these different lenses and points of view to really put the viewer in the front seat.
Yeah.
And to give them that almost ride along vibe and that ride along experience.
Yeah.
It's a 30-minute, half-hour drama, so nothing is wasted. You know, it's an intense 30 minutes.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like 30 minutes in a good way. But it's Dick Wolf. It's his first streamer. It's rated R for the first time. And I'm just truly blessed to have the team. Basically, we have the OG disciples of Dick Wolf's world that are leading this, you know, from a producer, showrunner, writing, directing standpoint. You know, we have people like Eric LaSalle, who's been in the Dick world for decades, and now he's directing. He's one of our executive producers, and he's also one of our leads. He plays another sergeant. And you know, Dick Wolf's son, Elliot Wolf, is a fantastic, creative, young adult dude that has so much potential, and I'm so happy he's quarterbacking this for us. He's one of our creators with our showrunner, Tim Walsh, who actually has roots from Chicago PD. So he's been in, you know, and then our other director, Brenna Malloy, even our costumes department, everyone is just from the original Dick Wolf world, you know, so they know. The cool thing is they know how special this one is because it's rated R, you know, so there's no network ceiling.
They're able to do stuff.
Yeah. You know, so, you know, they're drooling every day because they're like, oh, we're going to show this. We're going to do this. There's no way we could do that on NBC or CBS. Right. So, just a really solid team, man. Like, you know, and Troyan being our number one is excellent. You know, she, you know, every number one of a show is kind of like our captain, you know, and I'll follow her wherever she wants to go.
Carry it. Yeah. No, super fun. Everyone should watch it. Get on, like you said, short episodes, but you feel like you're sitting there for a while. You feel like you're full 8-hour shift, you know.
Totally. I mean, that's the whole goal. And, you know, you can binge it in 4 hours, and we want you, the viewer, kind of mad that it's over. We want you guys wanting more, right? So it's a good formula. You know, it's this whole mentality of bringing back the half-hour drama to television, which I think is genius given, you know, our environment right now and kind of where TV has gone and where streaming has gone. And just super proud and humbled to be a part of this on-call family.
And did they already buy some more episodes?
Not yet.
Oh, okay. Fingers crossed. No, I don't get no, Dick Wolf. Dick Wolf. No one says no to Dick Wolf, man.
Hopefully not. I've been hearing the buzz, and again, you know, when you get on a Dick Wolf production, usually you don't think 1 or 2 seasons, right?
You think decades.
I mean, fingers crossed. I tease my guy, so you know. He's on his 27th season with Mariska over on, you know, Law and Order.
And, you're also my child.
Yeah, I mean, well, come on, like, that's probably older than you are. You know what I mean? It's before you were born. Like, that's so crazy. We'll see. You know, we're number one right now on Amazon, so people are definitely tuning in and they're enjoying it. So, would love to come back for multiple seasons.
Let's do it. Now, I heard a cool story about your name. So, Tyson Koyama, did they let you pick that name?
Right. So they did. And all credit goes to our showrunner, Tim Walsh. I'll try to give the quick version. As soon as I booked it, he called me and basically said, look, I want you to feel comfortable, because the one thing Elliot Wolf and Tim Walsh did as creators and writers is they really were sensitive about the multicultural demographic background or backdrop of Long Beach, California. And so they had done their research. And, you know, as an Asian American actor in Hollywood, I really appreciate it because it's the first time, literally, that a showrunner or creator has come to me in the early stages and said, look, we want to honor your heritage. And ironically, the Japanese and the Japanese Americans, like my family, like my Japanese grandparents were born in Los Angeles in the South Bay.
Okay.
They're your quintessential Japanese Americans who were interned during the war, even though they're 100% American citizens. I carry that personal history with me on my mom's side. And so knowing that there is a huge community of Japanese Americans in the South Bay, and more recently, the Cambodian population has immigrated and settled in Long Beach,
Mm-hmm.
they were very cognizant of that. And so originally my character was, they chose to have him as Cambodian to honor that community.
Mm-hmm.
And then when they found me, and they knew I'm Japanese American, they were like, oh, let's honor that. And so how do you want to do that? And so what an opportunity that it really never happens like that.
Yeah.
And I said this before, where unless I'm writing it and producing it and show running it, it's my show for Dick
Right.
Wolf.
Right.
No one,
Yeah.
especially outside the culture, is gonna understand the importance of what that means to someone like me of color, let alone an Asian American, in which we really never get that limelight. People
Yeah.
still think we only come in one shade and one color.
Right.
We all speak
Right.
Chinese, and that's it. You know what I mean? Now people are like, oh, do you speak Korean? Because of the whole K-pop world, right? Boom.
Yeah.
But as far as being that awareness they showed to me in the early stages, it really motivated me to just perform even better for them, right? So he was adamant. I actually denied it in the beginning. I said, no, I'm good playing whatever you've written. And he said, no, I want you to feel comfortable in your name. And he gave me a day to submit some names. And I mean, I hung up the phone with him. I already knew, And so the origin of my name, Tyson Koyama, my mom's maiden name is Koyama. And obviously that's the Japanese side of me. And my mom's been my biggest supporter my whole life. Shout out to my dad too, but I wear his name all day, every day, right? So we're gonna give some love to mom. And she's also the biggest Dick Wolf fan. Every time I come back home to the Bay, she's got the marathon going, the whole Law and Order thing. I to be honest, when I think I did the second audition for it, she had it on. I had to tell her to turn it off because I had to tape. I just happened to get that call when I was at home, right? Literally, she had Law and Order on. So again, it's a consistency in the house. And just really wanted to honor her. At the same time, my cousin, like I mentioned earlier, when we first started talking about my intro to Hollywood, his name is John Koyama. And so he's my mom's nephew. And he was the one that introduced me to the business through stunts. He's the one who helped me get my SAG card back in the day. And ironically, his nickname is Koi, and that's what he goes by in the industry. So there's a lot of confusion on the stunt side because we've already, he's part of the Brand X stunt team, which is a very big team that do all the big action. And in our beginning episodes, a lot of Brand X guys were working and coordinating it, and they saw Koi on the call sheet, and it was kind of weird. They're like, wait, what? Because it's under the character side of the name, right?
Yeah.
And so I wanted to tribute him and honor him and thank him, for allowing me the opportunity to really kind of baptize me into the game. And so and then Tyson happens to be my mom's multi-poo that passed away a couple of years ago. So that's like her, her number one dog that passed, and it just all worked out. Amazon at Universal, they approved it. Also Tim Walsh, and then I think the original character had a short name as well as a nickname. So the Koi nickname fell right into that same kind of deal. Yeah. And Tim loved it. The studios approved it. I wear it on my chest, on my tactical vest. It's a bit surreal again. That's because
that's cool.
I get to represent for them,
Yeah. No, it's cool. It's cool to see it, like Koyama on the vest, to see your face, and you're a good character. You're not right. Another mafia, not an Asian triad.
Right.
You're a good dude.
Seriously. Like, I love all those characters, but I mean, like I said, again, I'm honoring, and every day I worked, every situation we filmed, I really wanted to give back to our Asian American law enforcement community. To the men and women that put their lives at stake every day to keep our communities safe and to allow me to go to work and to be able to work in a safe environment. You know what I mean? Like I said, we're all Asian American on this call right now, but like there's so many of us that work in law enforcement on all levels,
right.
Yet, we don't see it. Yeah. And I'm like, it's time. So I'm more than privileged and happy to represent for everyone, to take that and to put it on my shoulders and to do the best I can to just give us some visibility because, we're out there, and it's
Yeah.
time that we get honored and recognized. So, I assumed everyone that's a civilian is going to love the show just because of the way it's written and the way it's filmed. But I really hope the law enforcement community,
Mm,
in the U.S., no matter what state you're in,
yeah.
not only can identify with what we're doing, but is happy by how we're portraying them.
Yeah.
And that's something I think all of the characters, from Troy and Brandon, Eric, Lori, myself, we really understand that.
Good. Yeah.
And that's the goal.
Yeah. I don't know, but I think so. I think it does a good job.
Right, 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 right. Yeah,
Yeah.
I hope so too. And I've been able to speak to a lot of law enforcement, friends of the family and people that I know, and they wouldn't lie to me, and they're very pleased and very happy with what they're seeing. So that's awesome.
Good.
That's my win, to be
Yeah.
honest.
Oh man, we could do this all night. It's getting dark outside. Look at Kim's room getting really dark out there.
Yeah.
But
My mom's
let's
about to call me for dinner.
okay, almost dinner time at the Szeto
Almost.
household. So we got to slip in a quick lightning round. Kim, you want to do the first question?
Yes, so first one we have is your favorite neighborhood in SF. And
Oh
why?
gosh,
That's a hard question.
that is like neighborhood, like
Yeah, or a street,
let's
or
see. Oh man, God, you guys can edit this because it's gonna take me a second.
no worries. Yeah.
Damn.
For all of us, I think.
Yeah, like I love the marina. I love Little Italy. I love Chinatown.
Right.
Like honestly, like it's sad. Not that I didn't when I was there in high school and whatnot, but as time has gone on, I've really come to appreciate so many different parts of the city.
Yeah.
Honestly,
Yeah.
and so I really can't. I mean, so let me do this. The whole Bay Area, San Francisco, 100%. I grew up on the peninsula. I drove into the city. Like
Yeah.
I love the city.
No.
San Francisco.
Fair enough.
Like, yeah, I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah. No, see, I wanted to narrow the neighborhood so I can bump into you one of these times. I wanted to
Oh,
narrow.
dude, we'll just get coffee. You just
All
call
right.
me, email me. Like,
Yeah.
that's how we'll bump into each other.
All right. Yeah, that sounds good. What's your favorite? You got a hole in the wall, like maybe not totally a secret, but you got a hole in the wall Asian food, LA or San Francisco or Peninsula.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna get heat for this one, but it's actually because my family has a family connection with Yang Sing.
Okay.
Oh.
No, because people give me like real San Francisco Chinatown people are like it's overpriced, it's too
Yeah.
expensive, right?
But it's good.
I like Rincon Center, you know what I mean? I like that waterfall, like
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
like
That's
their dim
nice.
sum. And like I said, my parents they have a connection with the original family, so shout out to Yang Sing. Like
Yeah.
that's been a staple my whole life.
Nah, it's good. We almost got married there. We almost did our ceremony.
Exactly. It's a nice place. Like, yeah. So,
All right, Kim, you got the next one?
Yeah, so you've definitely played a fair amount of soldiers, cops, bad guys. Any types of roles that you'd love to land in the future?
well, before On Call, it would have been Sergeant Tyson Koyama,
Mhm.
because I've always fantasized, since I was a kid, I wanted to be a police officer. And so this is the closest I'll ever get to it, to be honest. Um, Other than that, I did a show for Netflix called Partner Track.
Right.
And
With Arden?
with Arden Cho. And I remember when I auditioned for that character of the eldest son who's educated, he's Ivy League, he's a lawyer that doesn't practice, and he's by default, because he's the oldest of an Asian family, has to take over the company. Which I think is a lot of Asian eldest male sons can identify and relate to that situation, whatever that business may be. The oldest. I am the oldest in my family, so it was very easy for me to relate to. But my point is, he was also that guy as our showrunner Georgia Lee for that show told me is all of us know that guy.
Yeah.
We all know that rich kid dude who's so educated and spoiled and just wants to party and is kind of a douchebag, you know what I mean? And
Uh-huh.
but we never get to see him. And so that's the way they kind of presented the character to me. And they're like, "You're perfect for this guy," right? And I was like,
Douchebag.
yeah. And of
How
course, my
funny.
wife is like, "Oh my God, this is so you." And I'm like, "Thank you." Like, she's like, "Man, this is gonna be easy for you. Like, you don't gotta even do anything." I'm like,
Just roll in.
great, but the thing I loved about that character, I think his
Carter Man.
Carter Minn's character was, I got to really play, and my friends, my close friends, it's a small circle of people that really, really know me really well. That was kind of like their ideal role for me because they're like, dude, you got to play a character that's like this, that's like that. So, I like playing around. I like being obnoxious and kind of goofy, and because I play all these serious characters a lot of the time, right? Whether
Yeah.
good guys or bad guys or whatnot. And that character, I just had a ton of fun just playing. So I think in the future, now that I have, I just came off of Jackie Ming with Sly, and now I got the the tough, loyal, veteran cop. Like, let me go back to playing kind of a like a douchey guy that is kind of lighter. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's where I kind of want to go next if that comes up. But I'm spoiled. I'm blessed with everything I've already done. So
Nice.
But yeah, shout out to Carter Min and the whole partner track following.
The whole Min family, yeah. Now, we didn't get a season 2, but I
Right.
heard that if there was a season 2, one of the Ming boys might get a little closer to Ingrid.
Right.
I heard that.
You see, that's Hollywood for you, because the sad thing was, I think our highest we got was we were trending at number 2 in the US, number 1 overseas. Our numbers were great. I thought that show from pre-production had the formula. I was like, this is going to be another Emily in Paris. Like, people are going to literally love this show because of all the aspects. I thought we were checking all the boxes, right?
Yeah.
And so did our showrunner and our producers. And we, that's why you can never plan in this industry. You can never assume anything. Just like Warrior, right? Just like On Call right now, it's number 1, but we'll see, right? They had already teased what season 2 is going to be. And to be honest, I don't know if I would have gotten closer to Arden in that way, but I was going to be very close to Arden in another way. Meaning, for those of you that have watched it, the show ends with Arden's character leaving her company, her firm, and going to potentially another firm and collaborating. And basically what was going to happen is she was going to come to our enterprise, and we were going to join forces, so to speak. And which I looked forward again, just because of what that represented. We had, because the Asian American kind of B story was a B story. The A story was, there's this corporation.
Right,
she's a minority female of color at a law firm, working her way up the partner track. But then there was this B story, which was like this other Asian Chinese American family, right? And that was going to come to the A storyline for season 2.
Man.
And so that's where I was like, this is going to be fantastic. It's going to be not another Warrior, but now we're finally getting these different genres.
Right.
And so that's where I was excited to hopefully go and get to. But unfortunately, the studio, Netflix, felt another way about it, which still a lot of us don't understand. And that's kind of the name of the game. A lot of times you don't understand, right? You just have to move on. So, but really, yeah, I had fun on that one. I thought that was a good one.
And shout out to another San Francisco guy. Shout out to Calvin Han Yi.
All right.
Papa Min.
Heck yeah. He's everybody's dad.
Yeah.
That guy. Yeah, Calvin
Mom's dad. Yeah, he's everywhere.
Yeah, no, that was another thing, like coming to work and playing his favorite son.
Right.
Like, that was dope, and no, I see Calvin in LA. So yeah, he's a great dude, man.
Yeah, he's come on our show a couple times. We love Calvin.
Yeah, Calvin's great.
All right, man. Well, we like to end with our signature question where we ask our guests who their infatuation is. Now, you've named a bunch of people, so you could rename someone you want, but anyone in the Asian community that you admire. So, Rich Ting, who is your infatuation?
And this might sound, like a broken record, but I always say if there's anyone I could meet, it would be Bruce Lee.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
You know, I mean, I know that's so generic in one aspect, but in the other, what he's personally meant to me and the fact that I've been able to be incorporated in his world to the extent I've been able to be.
Yeah.
You know, he's, like I said, like working with Sylvester Stallone, having, being able to cross paths with Arnold Schwarzenegger recently,
Yeah.
working on a Bruce Lee inspired and written Project Warrior,
Mm-hmm.
the last guy is Michael Jackson, to me. And unfortunately, both Bruce and Michael, that I don't think that's going to be a reality, but it would have to be Bruce in the Asian community because he has set so many milestones and trends and foundations for millions across all borders.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would say Bruce Lee, and I'm just happy to have the mom I have. You know what I mean? And to be representing her name and my side of the Japanese family on call. That's what it's about, honestly. It's really about me just giving back at this point because I'm not an overnight story by any means.
Right.
There's been a lot of work, a lot of time invested in me, and so I have no excuse, is what I would say. And so when I, having these opportunities on these platforms with this visibility that I've been able to earn and create, it's just about now being able to thank people and honor people. And I think we've talked about all that, in this conversation. So
yeah. I mean, I was a Rich Ting fan before, but now I'm like the hugest Rich Ting fan.
Oh, dude, I appreciate that.
Nah, you are Infatuasian tonight, Rich. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Oh man! So everyone out there, go watch On Call. Stream it multiple times. Have it running all night while you're sleeping. Just
please
get some eyes on it. You can follow Rich over at Rich Ting World on Instagram. You got other socials, or that's the main?
Yeah,
one?
I'm on pretty much everything under that handle. So Rich Ting World, you can find me.
All right. Kim, you want to shout your handles out?
I mean, I think you guys know where to find me. Cutie Kimbers, KYUTIE KIMBERS on Instagram. And if you guys can find my other public accounts, that's on you.
The secret of the burner accounts. Go find Kim's burner accounts. And you guys know where to find us. We're at Infatuasian Podcast. You can write us an email at infatuasianpodcast@gmail.com. And give us a listen wherever you find your podcast. Go ahead and subscribe and give us 5 stars wherever you can give us a rating. We would appreciate that. And tell a friend. If you know anyone who likes Warrior or Partner Track or any of the shows that we talked about tonight, let them know that Rich was on our show and send them the link. That'll help us out a lot. Hey, stay safe down there, Rich. I know it's kind of dodgy times down in L.A. It's sad to see, but we're glad that you're safe and sound.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right. And everyone out there, thank you so much for listening. On behalf of Rich, Kim, and myself, we hope that you're all happy, healthy, and safe out there. We'll talk to you again soon. Bye, everyone.
Okay.